Actually, maybe I don't. It's actually not that cold today. It's only 47 degrees today on this sensational Monday morning. Or not Monday morning. It's actually a little bit later than I wanted to go out to the gym today because I had a little bit more work than I expected from the get-go. There were a couple things that, if I'm being honest, I forgot I had to do by today. So those things, well, the things that those weren't work related. Those were just personal life related. Where I had to make a couple of, well, some of them were work related. Some of them also were family/personal related. And the main thing is, it's my issue with phone calls recently. Like, nothing against making phone calls at all, but why did they take so long? Like, I don't know if I'm just in like this mindset where I just don't like taking phone calls and doing them. Maybe that's why I think that they're worse than they actually are. But I swear to God that every time I have to make a call to some sort of like agency or like company, or even just like a doctor's office, any sort of medical professional, I get put on hold for like a minimum of 3 to 5 minutes, which, again, some people are like, hey, it's just 3 to 5 minutes. Is that really the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. But if I have to make, let's say, 5 different calls today, and I get put on hold for, again, let's say, let's just make the number easy, 5 minutes each time that I have to get put on hold. That's quite a while if you think about it. Like, 5 minutes doesn't seem like that much in the scope of, 24 hours in a day, but 5 times 5, what is that? 25 minutes. That's almost half an hour that I spent the day kind of just not being able to do anything, which, like, are the people that are making me hold that phone? No, they're probably just swamped with work and they're probably just busy. But at the same time, the fact that I lost half an hour to do essentially nothing, because it's not like while I'm on hold I can go, do other things, because what if they pick up? And that's another thing too, like, it's that idea that, like, what if they pick up, like, as I go, oh, I'm gonna be on hold for a while, let me go start something, because it seems like I'm gonna be hold on a while. But then the moment you try to start something, they always pick up. I don't know, that's just my main issue today. I hate making phone calls just because of the amount of wasted time. And not gonna lie, one time, maybe this is more of like a dumb move on my part, but I remember being on hold for one time for a record holder of 22 minutes. I was on hold because the reason I was even on hold for that long and I didn't just hang up is because the call that I did previously, I got hung up on accident, according to them. So I called again and they said, oh yeah, this time just make sure you're on the line, because they're like insinuating that I was the one that hung up, which was not the case. So I stayed there for 22 gosh darn minutes listening to that cursed hold music that they always have playing. That, who makes that hold music? Like, sometimes you start jamming out, sometimes it's the worst thing you've ever heard because of like the audio quality. But yeah, anyway, with that, I'm heading out a little bit delayed. It's 1:36 p.m. right now. And the thing that's on my mind currently is I don't know if I'm gonna lift today, actually. I might just do my cardio and call it a day, and let's see how that works out for me. Let's make this turn real quick. Because right now, after a back day where I do feel quite sore in the back region right now, I'm also feeling a little bit of tenderness right here. Like, I know you can't really tell, right here. Which I've always noticed for like a couple of the back days I had, or I guess technically only 2 this month, where since I did them after, not working out for a while, that part was always a little bit tender. And then in my mind, I always think about this. Like, if I'm going to be doing arms today, which would be on the normal schedule if I were to lift, a lot of curling movements and a lot of, push down movements use that part a lot. And I definitely feel it just doing it with, without any weight being added to it. So I'm thinking, is it inefficient if I were to try and do an arm workout today, or should I just stop worrying so much and just try it out? So it's going to be a mixture of both. I'm definitely going to be doing my cardio, because one thing I really want to challenge myself is, even if I feel too sore to lift, I can dedicate a small amount of my day to do 30 minutes of cardio. If I can dedicate, 30 minutes a day to sitting on the phone, just waiting and being put on hold, I can dedicate 30 minutes to do some cardio. If I can complain about, I saw the new Corolla GR. Somebody left their e-bike stranded over there. It looks like a pretty expensive one too. A lot of random stuff I just seen. So I might have lost 30 minutes today just being put on hold, but let me go regain back that lost 30 minutes by at least doing some cardio, because why not? Because, cardio's not fun. It's not like the most exhilarating thing ever. But the amount of relief in a way I get and the amount of like satisfaction I get after I finish my 30 minutes of cardio definitely outweighs the feeling of when I don't do my 30 minutes of cardio. And again, I don't want to bring back up the topic again, but the more I work out regularly, the more better pooping I have. So as weird as it sounds, I like to think that I like focusing on my workout because I like pooping well. And if you think that's gross, that you have rightfully to think so. Is that too much information? I don't know. But everybody poops. We all gotta poop to live. And why not make it a little bit better on myself if I have a good poop instead of a bad poop? Alright, I'll stop talking about poop. Or stop, not start. Another thing on my mind right now is I am out of yogurt. I'm also diminishing in my egg whites. I'm also out of eggs. I think there's only 4 eggs left in the fridge, and I know, that's literally one meal right there, and I have to, save some for the rest of my family, right? So I think a Costco trip is in the works. I also don't have any fruit other than canned fruit right now. I think there's 1 pear in the house at the moment, nothing else though. So I'm thinking I pick up some apples and bananas too right now. But right now, first thing on my mind is gonna go get my cardio in. And then after that, I'm gonna go try doing some dips, see how they feel. But if it just feels like my arms are gonna be, not sufficiently rested enough to get some good quality sets in, I think I'll just call it a rest day in terms of the lifting factor. But that's gonna be how I feel post-cardio though. Post-cardio, I always do feel a lot better. Like there are times where I walk, like previously, so obviously not this month because I haven't been that consistent, but prior to these months, when I was being a little bit more consistent, I would feel a little bit sore in the morning when I woke up, eat my breakfast a little bit better, and then I would go do my cardio for that day. And all of a sudden, it felt like I had like a second wind of energy where I was like, you know what, maybe I can lift today. And I went and lifted. So I'm going to see if that's going to be the same case for today because I always enjoy doing arms just because it doesn't take that long. It's pretty simple. You hit the triceps for 6 to 8 sets, depending on how I'm feeling that day. And then I do biceps for 6 to 8 sets. And then, as I said, since I usually want to incorporate 3 body parts per day, I'm either debating on whether doing forearms on arm day because technically, that's part of the arms, right? So why not do the forearms as well? Or, since I don't really know any... I probably should have looked up more forearm exercises. I know there's like one where people always they don't make fun of it, they just, joke around it because it looks like you're doing like a very like funny cat movement or whatever. Like, like a dog begging for food when they have their like paws sticking out back and forth. There's that, and there's also like the little wrist curl that you can do. I don't know a lot of forearm movements if I'm being honest because I never just really focused on them. But that being said, I wouldn't mind having some nice beefy forearms. Oh, I missed my chance to turn. Oh well. A little bit more time to talk then. But yeah, I don't really know that many forearm movements. Other than exercises that incorporate my forearms into them, which I don't know if they're actually being worked, scientifically said, because, things like the hammer curl I've heard do help, I definitely feel it in my forearms. Like when I do a hammer curl set, like I look down my forearms and they definitely feel a little bit more pumped than if I were to do a normal curl, right? And I do looks like we're not done talking about poop, are we? But when I do my 2 different movements of hammer curls I start off with the rope and I end off with the dumbbells, I do feel like my forearms are getting some sort of work being done. So maybe today will be a little experiment day actually. You know what? If my bicep and triceps are not sore, I think I made the executive decision now. Yes, obviously I'm going to warm up and see how I feel, but I'm going to go into this workout thinking that I'm going to do a lift today as well. And maybe try some forearm exercises too. And then after that, Costco for fruit, eggs, maybe some sort of protein source that isn't too big and I have to dread eating it for the next 1 week straight. And coconut water, yogurt, and any other sweet little treats that I think of on the way over there. But arrived at the gym today, go over the speed bump. Ooh, a little bit more rough than I expected. And I'm thinking today's going to be an exceptional day as well. It is very rainy, which I should be getting used to because, again, as I said yesterday, We have a forecast of straight rain for the next 2 weeks, I believe. And it's apparently, what was it, estimated that we're actually probably going to have rain for the entire month, or remainder of the month, and more going past it. So, a little bit lacking in the vitamin D department, but I have my vitamins to supplement for that. But let's go do my cardio, and I'll see you maybe on the first set of triceps. I'll be out of the way too. I'm done right now.
Okay, no worries.
Alright, so this is post arm workout where I did the entire thing. I go, oh guys, I don't know if I can lift today. I'm not feeling the greatest. My elbows are still tense. And then I did my cardio and then I felt fine. So I just went ahead and did my entire arm lifting regime, which was 8 sets of triceps, 6 sets of biceps. And then today, even though I didn't record it, so for all I know, I could be completely lying to you guys and myself saying I actually did it. But I did 4 sets of forearm exercises, which maybe I should have recorded them because, as I said, I'm not really sure if I even did them correctly. And maybe if I actually recorded it, I could have actually looked back at it and see, oh, maybe I could have fixed my form on this, or maybe I could adjust my posture like this. But since I didn't, I have nothing to base it off of. So all I have is that maybe I'll have to go look at a YouTube video after today and see what might need improvement and what I could actually add to the routine. But adding a couple sets of forearms into the old routine definitely doesn't seem like it'd be that much of a time increase, nor would it actually be more of a commitment. Because one thing I've noticed is, so I'll show you some of the things I did. One of the things I did is I had my arm laying on my leg while I was sitting down, and I just had my wrist hanging down with a dumbbell, and I just did this until I couldn't do it no more. And one thing that was really convenient is after I did my final set of dumbbell hammer curls, I just sat down and I just busted those out. Maybe that's not the word I should be using when I have a dumbbell in hand and I say I've been busting them out like that. But yeah, I did a couple sets of that. I did 2 sets to failure on both arms. And then after that, I did the old, this is something I've only seen done in videos where they do like the little like animal cat/dog begging pose where you're like this. But I did it with the easy bar attachment that you can use for the cables that rotates around, and I just did this until, again, I couldn't no more. And that was it. One thing I'm curious about right now, though, that's really on my mind at the moment, is I'm driving to Costco at the moment, and I am thinking, will my post-workout meal be a Costco food court item, which in the taste department and especially the price department, I have nothing against that. I might even be quite of a big fan, actually, of getting a post-workout meal from Costco just for the economic benefits. But for the actual health benefits, and especially in the fiber department, none of the items on the Costco food court menu are very nutritionally dense in terms of fiber. Why is that car going so slow? My goodness, I almost saw an accident happen right there. That was some wacky driving that I saw in front of me, my goodness. But yeah, so it's either I can get something that can definitely fill up the caloric needs and the protein and definitely the sodium needs. My goodness, the sodium needs in the Costco food court items definitely go above and beyond, if you know what I'm trying to say about that. Maybe I won't get Costco food. But at the same time, I just got done for my workout. I kind of want to eat something, though. There are a lot of fast food places near me, so I guess, technically speaking, I guess Costco would be cheaper and at the same time would be just as unhealthy as the fast food options near me. Or I could try waiting all the way by the time I get home and eating something, but then I feel like I'd be too hungry by then. You know what? I'm just gonna get a Costco food. I think I'll get a chicken bake. I'll get a chicken bake and then I'll shop and then I'll go home and I'll make sure I have a nutritionally balanced dinner, though. What are you doing? You are blocking the road, my good sir. They were sitting on their phone in the middle of the... Oh my God. Maybe I am just a little bit of a road rager, but that did not sit well with me. Do not sit on your phone in the middle of an entranceway, especially if you're in the middle of it, that I have to go out of my way to even... Oh my God. Ah, guys, I'm road raging. Oh, my road raging has made me not park very well, actually. Actually, no, I'm in the line. Let's check the camera footage. Beautiful parking job. Even in my fit of fury, I was able to do a fantastical parking job. All right, did I? Okay, it's not the straightest, but it'll do. But let's go to Costco. Well, the old Costco food court was out of stock of chicken bakes. So I resorted to getting a slice of pizza, which, you know, not the end of the world, but the chicken bake really does deal with all the caloric intake that I needed, especially in the protein department, while also not being too overly greasy. You know, nothing against grease, you know, grease is flavor at times, but there's a lot of grease on the Costco pepperoni pizza, I'll tell you that. So maybe I should have resorted to the cheese pizza, but it is what it is. So since I didn't get a very, I definitely think I need to care for not consuming too much sodium today, because as I said before, while the Costco, oh God, it seems my my groceries in the back are not too securely strapped down. So I'm gonna make sure I drive pretty carefully, because I do have this container of eggs at the very top that I kind of put up there in a greedy fashion, because I got 5. Wait, how many is that? It's not, those aren't dozen. Are those 2 dozen containers? So I got 5 containers of eggs, and then after that I got a box of egg whites, and then after that I got some fruits, some veggies, and what else did I get? I also, they were selling some hamburger patties in the frozen aisle, so I decided to get a couple, because why not? I want to see, maybe I can make some loco moco, maybe some Hamburg steak if I'm feeling of the Asian influence of my beef patties. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go home and actually eat a little bit more, because that one slice of pizza, while in the calorie and the saturated fat department, probably was more than amply enough for my entire daily intake. I don't feel very full though, I will say that. Like, I wouldn't say I'm starving at the moment, but I definitely don't feel satisfied enough to feel full. Which I know that's not always, one way that you gotta gauge, your hunger levels. Like, if you're just not hungry, that is technically in a way meaning that, you ate enough. But I'm thinking I want to eat some sort of fruit. I'm feeling something sweet right now. So maybe I'm thinking I go home and I have a little old Kirkland Signature protein bar with spiced up with a little bit of an apple. I'm thinking either half of an apple or maybe I'll have a whole apple. Who knows? But today's workout, I do want to reflect upon it a little bit now after it's been like, how long? It's been like an hour now. I haven't really been in Costco for an hour. I feel like I was really in and out though. But today's workout was pretty good. Only issue that I had with it is the pump department was a little bit lacking in my opinion. The pump department needed a little bit more improvement. But in terms of the actual like contraction, like feeling the muscle department, was feeling pretty nice actually, especially on some of those tricep exercises where at the bottom portion I really fully extend out and then lock it into position. I could hear the old I never know if I have to stop at these ones or not. There's a school bus in front of me and I don't know if I have to stop or if I'm allowed to go by. Not 100% sure, but just to be safe, nothing wrong with being safe, right? I'll stop for the school bus with the flashing red lights. Because, what if a kid came and just ran across the street, That'd be a little bit of a nightmare scenario. Oh, and off we go. See, I had a couple times where I would stop for a school bus and the cars behind me would start honking at me, but I feel like in those situations, unless you're in like an extreme rush where some sort of emergency is happening, is stopping for the school bus for less than 30 seconds really going to ruin your day? Like, I stayed on hold for a phone call for almost 30 minutes today. You're telling me you can't wait 30 seconds for a school bus to just safely, unload the children inside so they can safely cross the street in a safe manner? I said safe so many times right there. It always irked me when people would honk at me when I would stop for school buses, when they would have the red lights flashing, which is definitely the police stop for us lights. Never really sat right with me, where it's almost like I kind of wish there was like a reverse horn. Like when you honk your horn in a car, it's at the front, right? What if I had a reverse horn in like the trunk area or like underneath the rear of the car, so that when I hit the rear horn, they get honked back at? But that being said, living in the old US of A, there's a chance that if I reverse honk somebody, that person might get out of their car and cause me bodily harm. So I always like to take the side of road rage, where I might get angry in the car, and obviously you get to see it while I'm driving around, but I'm never gonna act upon it though, because I always think that it could just be one wrong move and I don't get to see the next day. And I would like to very much see the next day, because again, I'm still on a journey where I wish to become muscular. And if I don't make it to the next day, how am I gonna see the muscular vision that I had in mind? Exactly. So now I'm looking forward to two things. Not looking forward to one thing. The one thing I do hate about Costco trips is, since, I could ask for boxes, but then if I ask for boxes, I feel like, it's even more, recyclables and trash that I have to organize. So I always ask for no box. I did buy one of these Insta crates that like fold in and fold out. So they, they lay flat when they're not in use, but they fold out into be a full crate. And that should make my trip a little bit easier. But I should also start getting the company of my younger siblings, and maybe I'll make them move all the groceries inside. That was a really crisp clap right there. I like that. But it has stopped raining, which is actually kind of weird, because I was actually kind of liking driving through the rain. If I'm not on the highway, I really like driving through the rain. But when it's raining and I have to drive on the highway, then not the biggest fan of that, because there's always this one meme I keep saying. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal with like a bunch of like he's like rain falling on it, but it's like a very like stoic expression on it. And I think the caption literally wrote like, when you hydroplane a little bit on the highway, so you gotta lock it in. And then it's just him, with the stoic expression. And it's really unfunny when you describe a meme, right? Like, especially like you visually try to describe it out and you literally read out the caption out loud. But just trust me that I laughed when I first, well, actually I didn't laugh. There's like this subcategory of memes where I don't laugh at them, but I still find them funny though. Like, I don't like audibly laugh. I don't go, ha 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 ha. You know, I might do like a little bit of like a louder nose exhale, like that. But even some things I might not audibly laugh at, I still find them extremely funny. Which is funny to think about, like, you know, a very easy, like, visible and audible cue for when something is funny is when you hear laughter from people. But there's also that slight nuance that sometimes you find content that you watch through the entire thing with a straight face, with a stoic expression at the end. You're like, that was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen, I've ever read, I've ever witnessed. And sometimes it do be like that. But another beautiful day. Back is quite sore, I might say so myself. And ooh, the rear delts are actually, I think I got a pretty good rear delt workout yesterday because I'm touching them, and just even touching them right now, I use this word a lot, they are tender at the moment. And I like to think that's a good sign, because I like to think that means they got worked, right? So now the next objective is, do I wake up tomorrow with sore triceps and biceps and maybe even a little bit of sore forearms? Who knows? And I'm not sure yet how I want to incorporate my rest days, because again, the whole reason I went to the 4-day split of what I'm doing currently is because I thought this would be a really good way for me to not have any rest days, which I know that's not like the goal or anything. I'm not trying to, like, you know, get rid of the idea of a rest day because I'm afraid that I'm going to lose gains and I'm like on like a time crunch. But theoretically speaking, if you should work out after you amply rested a certain body part, and then I feel like 3 days should be enough, right? Like 3 days after you do a certain body part, I feel like that's enough time for them to be like, hey, I'm ready to go again. And doing a 4-day split means I should be able to go. But that being said, I also worry, like, am I overworking? But at the same time, I never really worry that I'm overworking, because I'm almost worried I'm underworking at times. Like, some people, like, I don't want to call them junk sets, as in like people are doing junk sets, like you know, belittling them, saying like, oh, you do more than 2 working sets per exercise, you're doing junk set, you're losing gains. But there's that entire notion that, like, you know, how many sets of working sets actually work for muscular hypertrophy, and how, you know, all of our bodies are different and how we all respond differently to stimulus. So right now, I like to think my current workout plan is working for me. But that's also looking at it in the scope of, you know, a couple months, right? Like, it's not like I have a year-long experience, or even the month. I haven't been too consistent, but I feel like I have been making muscular gains. I have been getting stronger just off seeing the weight increase. Well, I guess my own weight, and also the weight on the machines and the weights I use. So I like to think that it's working out. So I'm gonna keep sticking with this for a while. And then, who knows, maybe next year I look even more different. Or if I don't look as different as I want it to be, maybe that's when I got to start incorporating a little bit of a different philosophy to my exercise. And I guess I don't even really have to even wait a year. I could wait a couple months and see how it's looking. And if I feel like my progress is plateauing, then maybe I got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. But for the time being, I think... See, I would like to say that I would like to go every day, but that's a pretty big commitment, considering that is every day that, technically speaking, you will be sore every day, because... Is that true, though? Because I will be sore every day because I would have worked on a different body part the day prior, and now that will be sore the day after. But then since I'm doing a different body part afterwards, then that means I would just be sore for that previous exercise, but I won't be sore for the coming up exercise. I feel like I definitely could have said that in way less words, but then, like, the cognitive functions in my mind weren't going in the right way, and I had to really force that sentence out right there. But not too shabby of a day. I do want to say that again. Like, I felt like I had a lot of fun, and doing, you know, forearm exercise for the first time ever was indeed a new experience. So now I'm really thinking arms will be triceps, biceps, forearms. I like that order. Our legs will be calves, hamstrings, quads. Chest will be chest, side delts, and abs. I think that's when I'll start adding an abs into the old routine right there. And then back will still be lats, upper mid back, or I guess I'll do pull downs, rows, and then rear delts. So that would be 3 different body parts being hit every single day. And I think that should be a very good, well-rounded routine that I can stick with a couple months and see if I see any visible progress. I don't know if it'll be achievable, especially with the current diet that I have. That's pretty, I don't want to say lackluster, but definitely not as, constricted. That's not the word I'm looking for. Strict. I don't really have a very strict diet at the moment. I'm just trying to get my calories in, my protein in, and then whatever carbs and fats I get along the way are just, they're along for the ride. But there is a part of me, I would like to see some visible abs. I know that's not, the do-all statement that everybody needs to strive for in life, but I've always had quite a bit of a belly. Like, I don't think I ever really had a flat tummy ever in my life, because I always had a little bit of, I was always fat. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I've always been fat growing up. Maybe I wasn't fat when I was like 5, 6 years old, but I think ever since 7, I was always on the little bit of the chubbier side, and I just kept getting heavier and heavier each year. And I remember, I talked about it previously too, but I was always insecure about my moves. They're still kind of there too. So maybe, a couple more years of chest exercises, and they start having more of like that flat look instead of like the little cone-shaped look that I had for a while. But then I also heard there's a thing called gynomastia, and I don't think I have it, because like they said if you have it, it's like pretty noticeable, because like it looks like you have like around your nipples, it like kind of puffs up more, if that makes sense. And mine doesn't look like that, so I don't think I have it. But I also saw that if you have like a hormonal imbalance when you're a kid, especially from like eating bad and sleeping bad, that might occur too, which I definitely didn't eat that well when growing up. And that's not even shaming my mom. I just remember in high school when my mom started working too, and because before it was only my mom or my dad that worked, and when my mom started working, I'll be home a lot more. And obviously as a kid, you do the thing where like your mom probably made food for you. Oh, my mom did. She would make like healthy Korean food for me to eat, and then I go, I don't want that. I'm eating Taco Bell for the 6th day in a row as a freshman in high school, and that kind of did happen. I remember like in high school, even right now, I feel like fast food's a little bit of like a vice for me. I've definitely cut it out of my life as much as possible, but still there are times where it creeps back up, just because, I'm gonna be honest, it tastes good, it's cheap, depending on what you get, and it is very, very accessible. Some days you just don't want to cook, because cooking is not just cooking. It's a multi-part process where you have to realize that you gotta prepare, you gotta do the prep before you cook. Then you do the actual cooking, and then you got to do the cleaning, and then you got to do the dishes, then you got to do the plating, and then after you're done plating, you got to do the eating, and then after you do the eating, you have even more cleaning to do afterwards. And I definitely think I've started to streamline that process a little bit more, because I've started cleaning and doing dishes while I'm cooking, so I have less to do at the end of the day. But man, salutations, actually maybe that's not the word, respect to all people that are able to cook consistently, because that is a very difficult thing. And if you do that, give yourself a pat on the back. And even then, if you aren't consistent with cooking at home, even when you just find time to cook for yourself, you should be proud of that. You should be gosh darn proud of that. And am I saying that you should never eat out, never support the businesses around you, especially the small business, the mom and pop restaurants around you? No, because those are there as like, for you to enjoy. And especially too, if you're able to find like a nice takeout, or not a takeout, just a nice restaurant near that's, affordable, good for your health preferably, and also reasonable prices. Actually, I said affordable already. And give you the proper nutrients and stuff that you need. Nothing's wrong with eating there too. But there's also the fact that restaurant food is built for profit and also built for maximum taste in a way, or at least that's the goal, right? Maximum profit and maximum taste, which means that sometimes with maximum taste for some foods, they are going to be unhealthy compared to the food that you can have at home. That's like the one main reason. Like, this is not really like a secret anymore. People are like, oh, why is the restaurant food so much delicious than the one I made at home? I did the same recipe. Well, probably because even if you had the same ingredients that you have in it, that restaurant version probably has way more fat, way more salt, probably MSG also. And then there's also little nuances, like they probably have higher heat. So for example, if you want to have like that, there's a term called wok hei, which means like the char / smoke flavor from the wok where I can make a fried rice at home, but it's not going to taste the same as like a fried rice made in a super high heat wok with like the jet burner stove on it, where you just hear go, you turn your ears, you go, and you literally see the flame just start erupting around. That is not going to taste the same as the fried rice that I made in my little tiny little frying pan that at home. So that is one thing to always keep note of, fellas. Always one thing to keep note of. That being said, you can still make plenty of delicious foods at home. So don't let that be a deference saying that you can never have a delicious meal at home. Because there are some things I actually feel like that are better at home. Like, for example, there are a couple items that in my area I feel like nobody really does that well. In my area, I feel like nobody in my area does Asian or East Asian curry that well. So that is one thing that, yeah, maybe I could go out and eat it at a restaurant, but I would much rather have it at home because it tastes the same, albeit sometimes even a little bit better because I can add stuff I like. And probably the ingredient pool will be better as well, and it is a fraction of the price. Like, I go to like a place that sells katsu and curry, and they'll charge me like $18 for that katsu and curry. I might not have the katsu at home, and I probably don't want to make it because I don't want to, take out the oil and deep fry it. But even just having like curry and rice and some other sort of protein source, the ingredient costs, since you don't incorporate your own wages of actually making it, probably costs you like $3, $2 for a full serving right there. But on that note, have a beautiful day. I gotta unload all my groceries now. Peace.